Hey everyone, so you're here, it's part 2. We're going to be cleaning the wheels and tires of your car. This is actually part 2B. 2A, in case you have or have not seen it, is how to clean your tires and rims with the wheel on, which is what everyone's going to do. That's what 99.9% everyone's going to do. But the real professional way, and the way if you really want to assess your wheels and see what's going on, is to take the wheels off and clean it with it off. A little bit of a bigger task, but definitely the way to do it if you really want to be true to the car. So I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. Now, I've said it in previous videos, but in case this is the first time you're watching, and I will repeat it every single time, the reason we start off with the wheels first, before we do the rest of the car, is two reasons. One, the wheels get exposed to the most. They get exposed to the dirt, the grime. They're the only points of the car that makes contact with the road. So if you start washing the wheels first, and all the dirt kind of splashes up, depending on how dirty they are, if you wash the car first, that dirt can splash up onto your nice clean car that you just washed. So what's the point in doing that? Secondly, if you wash the car and it gets all the water on it, even if you're in a shaded area, and you should be doing this in a shaded area, then as you start cleaning the wheels after, secondary, then the car will start drying. And as it starts drying, you're going to get water spots and stuff on it. So why expose it to that? If you do the wheels first, then as the water washes off the car, when you wash it after the wheels are done, then it'll keep the wheels wet, because that's what you want. When you dry, you do want it wet. It gives you a better finish. We'll talk about that in another video another time, but that's definitely what you want to do. So I always say start with the wheels. However, doing this part now, of course, you're doing the wheel wells. You can't do the wheels without the wheels on the car. Wheel wells off. Wheel wells are part of the car, so you're doing that first. Wheel wells off, you take your tire off, doing the wheel wells. But now the tire is going to be away from the car, off the car, so it's not so much of an issue. But still, as you're already in there and you already cleaned the wheel wells and everything, we go on to the tires next. Now, aside from some water, this is really all you're going to need to get this job done with the wheels off. So you need some sort of cleaner. In this case here, I've got McGuire's, but use whatever works for you. I'm not endorsing this one. This is the one I'm just using for the purpose of this video. I have this here. If you're cleaning, if you saw the other video, when you're cleaning the tires and rims with the wheels on, I don't even bother with this brush, but I use this now to do the treads of the tire. We'll show you that in a bit. This is my go-to tire brush, again, with the wheels on, because it has a nice curve. It's actually nice to get around and do the tires, and it kind of gets in by the rim and all that stuff without scratching it. It's aggressive, but not aggressive enough to damage the rim. And unless the rim is really scuffed up, I use this here. This is I use with the cleaner and everything to help scrub that off. I find this very effective. The microfiber traps everything. So this is good as well. So, just like doing the wheel wells, as you have the wheels off, it's always a great time to inspect. Check and see if you see any nails or anything that's in there. Check your tread life. Make sure your tread life is good. Make sure the tire's good. Check the rims. Make sure that there's no damage on the inside of the rim or anything like that. No rust spots. Stuff that could become potentially hazardous later on. As you have it off, this is always a good time to do this stuff before you start washing it, just to kind of assess and see where everything is. So next we just spray down the tire and the rims with water, or a foam cannon or a pressure washer if you have it. If you do use a foam cannon, do make sure to rinse out the foam after it kind of soaks in and everything like that. As you can see, I've braced the tire. I start off with the back of the tire first, and then I do across the treads and then the front. You'll see that in a bit. However, if you have, like, for example, really low profile tires or anything, and you need to brace it up and it could damage the rim, do put like a cloth or something on the other side just to protect your rim. You don't want to damage it or scuff it. So we're going to go now and grab our water and just rinse out. I'm just using water here, and we're just going to spray liberally. I'm not worried too much about the front right now. I'm covering really all the tread. I'm going to get underneath, get into the rim, all on the back here. Always good if you check here and you're seeing a lot of rust build up or anything like that before you even do the washing. Good to give it a light sand to smooth out the contact area, because this is the area that makes contact with the hub itself. So if you see that, give it a good wash down, a good sanding or anything before you do the wash down. We'll go ahead and spray our cleaner on. So I'm just gonna spray it on fairly liberally. Gonna get the back everywhere. Again, this stuff is pretty potent stuff. You're not supposed to leave it on too long. 15 seconds roughly. So don't leave it on there too long. Also watch where you're spraying. If you have, depending on the back of the wall or anything like that, whatever backing it is, you don't want to get that stained up. So make sure you take care of that. So for this part here, the inner sidewall and the inner part of the rim, I'm going to use these two. I'm just going to turn on low power on the water and wet, give them just a little, get them a little wet. Shake them out. And we're just going to go ahead and take this. And this is what I like about this here, because as you can see, it conforms to the tire. You just go in and just kind of scrub the tire around. I mean, this part here is really like you're doing the front of the wheel. You know, it's the same concept, same principles. And then again, before it has a chance to dry in here, I'm going to take my microfiber. I'm going to go and agitate all around, getting on the lip of the rim around here. Now, some weights, for example, this rim has the weights here. Some of them have the weights on the inside. You want to make sure you're not taking that off, so be careful with the weights. That's what keeps your wheels balanced. We're going to go. Let me get into the ring for the hub here. Some wheels will be easy to do, some will be complex and harder. Work with what you have. After that's done, you immediately rinse off. Start top down and work your way down. If you wash here and then wash up here, the dirty wall will run down into the washed area. So then, whenever you're washing a car, cleaning tires, anything, it's always a top down. You can see the difference that makes there. So then you always have to make sure. That's what I like about this too. Some microfibers hold on to dirt. This does hold on, but it rinses off very nicely. All right, you do the same with your brush. You're ready to move on. So while I suppose you can say this is completely unnecessary because as soon as you put the wheel on, it's making contact with the road, I still do it because it takes off stones, it takes out anything that could be embedded in the tread. So I'll bring the tire up. So now we've cleaned here. It's all looking good. It's actually kind of drying right now. And I'll spray. Come around the other side, spray. Give it 15 seconds or so. Grab my brushes and everything. In the meantime, I'm rinsing out. This is the one I'll use. It's a little more aggressive. It's curved outward, so as it's good for getting into the tire and getting around. Shake it out, and then we'll just go in and start working the tread. Yeah, let me see if I can bring it in for you here. Okay. Now, what I do is I always do the upper half of the tread. That's why I only spray the top half. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and rinse that out. Now I'll check and see if I see, for example, be careful, you don't want to cut yourself or anything, but if you see a stone, I take all that out. That's up to you though. Like even for me, I'm not that picky. I see one in here, it's kind of hard to come out. No big deal. But it certainly helps get most of the stones out. And then I would rotate the tire around. And I do the same for the other half. All right, so same principles apply here as doing the back of the tire. So we're just gonna get a cleaner. Spray fairly liberally all around. Not too much. Well, that's a little much, but not too bad. Give it, your 10 or 15 seconds while I do that. I'm getting all my stuff ready. Again, I'm going back to this one and this one. And same thing here. So we're just going to go and scrub the outer wall. And then we're going to go ahead and take our microfiber. I'm wringing it out, make sure. And start off with the outer lip. And work into the inner part of the lip. On the inside. Yeah. Spokes. And then on the inner part of the spokes, depending on your wheels. That's what I like about this one too. It actually gets in and conforms. You can actually scrub on the inside. It's very nice. Brushes, you can't do that. And if you don't have something like this, you just use a microfiber cloth or something. That works just fine. Or any type of applicator. Right. So again, you don't want this stuff to dry on. You can actually etch and stain depending on which one you use. Most of them are like that. And just rinse. So now we begin by drying, and I actually keep two separate drying cloths. There's one I keep for tires and one for rims. The reason for that is because the tires and stuff have a lot of waxes and oils in them. So if you wipe them off, sometimes it can leave black residue on your cloth. So I'll use one drying cloth specifically just for the rim and one for the tire, just so I'm not intermingling those waxes and stuff, right? So you begin by drying. I actually start by drying the outside first. Again, now if you were doing this with the wheels on, it'd be a completely different process because you wouldn't dry until after you've washed the car. Depending again on what your setup is and everything, you may be doing this completely and then washing the car with it still on your jack. So whatever works for you, right? And then turn the tire around. And I'll do the inner part of the rim. And then, just to be sure, I turn around and just do a final spot check. The reason I don't do the inside first is because it is the inside of the tire. It doesn't get nearly as much exposure as it really should as far as cleaning and so on. So sometimes even if you do your best to clean it, you can still get deposits. And if you then clean the back, you may get some dirt on there. You then clean the front, you smear the dirt. It can happen. So this way you get, this is really the side that's facing out. That's the side I want to get done first. And that's also the side I want, if something's going to get scuffed, I'd rather be the inside, not the outside. Now we're going to dry, and here's a perfect example. This is the cloth I use for doing the tires. And you can see sometimes the waxes and stuff that get on there, right? It happens. So that's why, again, I use a different cloth. Same thing here, though. We start off on the outside. This one. Work your way around. I don't worry about too much about the tread, but if you want to do it a little bit, feel free to do so. I also, now for the sake of this video, I'm doing it where I washed it. But to be honest, normally I'd move to a different dry area. That way I'm not sitting in the puddle as I move the tire around, especially for the tread, and getting it wet again. But again, for this video, just for the sake of consistency is why I'm doing it here. Okay. Then you just leave the tire there. and it's ready to be dressed. Okay, so you're on your way. One step closer to getting those wheels done. So you're by this point here, your wheel well should be nice and clean. Your tires should be nice and clean. So next up, you've got to detail your tires. Of course, before you do that, you're washing your car, you're cleaning your car, all that stuff is getting done. But now you got to move on. Now it's time to detail your tires. So where you go from here, we're going to be looking at clay bar next, clay barring your rims. So check that video out. If you have any comments for the video itself, if you have any questions or anything that, feel free to let me know. Leave it in the comments below. If there's any feedback you want to leave, if there's anything you do better, go ahead. I want the community to hear about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you dislike, let me know why as well, just so I can keep making the content better. But other than that, I'll see you next video. Thank you very much.